Good morning, everyone. My name is John Lingard from Explorer, and welcome to the Forms to Apex webinar this morning. We've got a few people online, still waiting for a few more to join, so we're going to give it a few more seconds, and then we'll get going with the webinar. Good morning, everyone. My name is John Lingard from Explorer. Welcome to the webcast today. We've got quite a few people logged in now, so welcome, everyone. I'm joined by Simon Greenwood, our Development Director. Good morning. And what we're here to discuss is whether you have a future with Oracle Forms and what potential alternatives there are out there. So let's begin with an introduction to who are Explorer. So who are we? Explorer is an Oracle Platinum partner with over 20 years of working with Oracle technology to solve business problems, develop bespoke applications, implement new solutions, and provide support in a number of ways, whether it be ad hoc support and consultancy through to managed services and 24/7 support. We're also the #1 Apex development consultancy in the UK, so that means that we've got experts in the realm of Apex development, well respected in the community, and we've got a very popular blog which is full of information on various Oracle solutions from Apex to Exadata as well. So take a look at that whenever you can. Most of you will be familiar with the Oracle stack, and we align ourselves with every layer on this stack, from application development with Apex at the top, down through middleware and database, down to engineered systems, whether it be providing specialist services or selling of these engineered systems. And Oracle are really good at providing choice to customers, whether it be customers looking to stay on-premise, move to the public cloud, or interested in a hybrid approach. So, no matter what Oracle technology you're wanting to do, Explorer work with Oracle to deploy these solutions in whatever form, pardon the pun, that you wish to take. So I want to start by taking a poll on what brought you here today. So I'm pleased to see that we've got attendees from all over the globe here. Many I can see are from the UK, but I know that we've got attendees from the US, South America, Africa, and Asia as well. So welcome all. And you've all got access now, or you should all have access now to a poll. And it's a quick question that I want to ask you all. Are you actively assessing the continued lifespan of Oracle Forms within your business? So I'd request that all of you participate and just answer yes, no, within 6 months, or whether you'll never stop using Oracle Forms. If the latter, I'd be really interested as to why you're on the webinar today. So just have a few seconds just to answer that question. And then we'll close that now. And we'll look at those results later on. So thanks for that. So the future of Oracle Forms. First off, Oracle Forms is not going anywhere. Oracle Forms will be here for a long time to come, but times are changing. Forms still has a worldwide and loyal user base, but we see from many organisations that they are looking at the long-term life cycle of forms within the business. Businesses now are being challenged more than they ever have done before. Do more with less, reduce costs, simplified deployments, and things like DevOps, mobile, cloud, they're all disruptive to forms too. And forms has not kept pace with these challenges. And what are these challenges? Aesthetically, Oracle Forms has not kept pace with modern applications. Architecturally, it's not easy to integrate with other technologies and be open. Mobile working on devices like smartphones and tablets is impossible if you're just using Oracle Forms. Oracle Forms has become more expensive to support as well, and deployment methods have changed due to browsers removing the NP API support. Forms at the end of the day is a technology that peaked at the turn of the century, and since then, Web 2.0 applications are running both the world's leading and emerging businesses. It's not kept pace. I just want to take a slight diversion here and mention Oracle reports, because as many of you will know, Forms reports, they were brother and sister in solution delivery for such a long time, and Oracle reports has now been deprecated. It's included in 12.2.1, but there'll be no future updated releases. So customers are struggling now with how do they achieve that reporting functionality when they move forward, if they move forward with Oracle Forms 12c. And BI Publisher has often been the answer to that. But to be honest, it's an expensive solution just to replace what was already there in Oracle reports if you're not adding any new functionality that BI Publisher that can provide you. There's no value there. You're just reworking to stand still, an investment to stand still. So, what is the answer if you are running Oracle reports at the moment? Well, you could stay on premise. Apex, which we'll come on to talk about, Application Express, does have some fantastic native reporting capabilities inbuilt, and by using Apex, we can replicate Oracle Forms, Oracle Reports functionality to output various document types if you want to stay on premise or even in the cloud. If you wanted to move into the cloud as well, you've also got access to using the Oracle BI Cloud Service. So combining Apex with BI Cloud Service is extremely powerful. If not, just use Apex on its own. So back on track with Oracle Forms, there are alternatives to Oracle Forms. And for many years, Oracle's promoted Java as the de facto application development platform. Why? Because Java equals big licenses for Oracle sales reps. So Apex has not necessarily had the volume from Oracle as maybe it has deserved. It's at this juncture I want to introduce Simon, our development director, who's going to talk more about Apex and the alternatives and what you can use Apex for and how suitable it is as a potential replacement for you if you're considering replacing Oracle Forms. Simon?
Okay, thanks, John. So really we're starting with a question I've been asked many times for many years, which is, should I be using Java or should I be using Apex? Is it an Apex v Java battle? Is one better than the other? Oracle seems to talk about Java a lot, but I think they are two very different things, and hence it is like comparing apples and oranges. So really, if you are doing UI-driven applications, in other words, which is something which maybe starts with a workflow and tasks, and then you would maybe build a user interface and then build data structures and connect them, that really is what Java is all about. If you are doing data-driven applications, which Oracle Forms are, basically which starts with a design, derives the user interface from the data, that is very much what Oracle Forms people have been doing for the last 20 to 30 years. That's what Apex does as well. So basically, there are a number of, and I'm probably say there's probably about 5 ways of building applications using Oracle technology. But the main and 2 obvious ways are UI-driven applications, and think of it as the Swiss Army knife towards Fusion middleware is the JDeveloper ADF route, and the data-centric route, which was always Forms for many years. The real primary tool for using that now is Oracle Application Express. So what other tools are out there? Well, obviously, the 5 ways I've mentioned, you've got Forms, you've got Apex, you've got ADF, JDeveloper. Rising and gaining more interest is JavaScript Extension Toolkit, which is Jet. And then obviously you've got MAV, which is Mobile Application Framework. So, they all have a place. They all are very useful, but the two primary ways of building applications are Java-based applications or Apex, now, if it's data-driven applications. So, thinking about, just briefly mention the other two. So, Jet, or JavaScript Extension Toolkit, it's a toolkit. It's not a framework. It's not get everything you need. It's a UI only, really. And really, it's a collection of various open source components with Oracle additions. But it does need a lot of JavaScript programming, and it's certainly nowhere near as productive as you would be of the obvious two, which would be ADF or Apex. Now, from the MAV, or Mobile Application Framework, I'll start by making the statement that basically, do you really need a mobile application? Well, if your use case is less than 2 minutes or shorter, or you need offline working, or need access to the devices, then you maybe need a mobile framework, and MAV is certainly something to consider in that case. So, really, moving forward onto the next thing, really, which is about Apex. And what is Apex? Well, it has the title of being Oracle's primary tool for building web applications using SQL and PL SQL. It's very scalable, it's very secure. It is a component of your database. And basically, you can develop desktop, or let's call them, mobile but non-offline mobile applications. In other words, HTML pages, because everything's responsive, very swiftly and very easily. It's a no-cost option. Sometimes it's referred to as free, but you have already purchased Oracle, and therefore it is a component and a supported component that you've already purchased. So it is a no-cost option of what you already have. It is 100% browser-based, whether you are a developer or an end user at runtime. So it really does limit and reduce the support costs, and it does support all the modern browsers. And the beauty of it is, whether it's on-premise, on a laptop, on cloud, or part of using any component or platform that the Oracle database will run on, so will Apex, because it is purely a component of that database. So, and most relevant, really, is this slide here for forms people, is that for many years, people have built Oracle Forms. They have a significant investment. Forms is very reliable. It's intuitive. It's straightforward, and it's always scaled. I think the point here is that as times are changing, as John's mentioned, it's important that you protect the investment that you've got. So, PL SQL, and this is a statement which is fact. A PL SQL procedure written way back in the 90s will run in the latest version of Oracle without a single line of change. And there's a key reason behind that. Oracle has always protected the database. Oracle has always provided a migration path to the database. And Apex is database-centric, or should I say, Apex is database-based. It is a component inside that database. So, end users and developers are using a browser. There's zero dependency on any Java plugins, which is becoming an issue for the forms as architectures change. And there's no NP API issues, which are affecting Forms customers today. Oracle Forms, as a developer of Oracle Forms, and my background is Oracle Forms, I personally feel Oracle Forms developers make exceptional Apex developers, because the key skill to learning Apex is understanding the database and understanding PL SQL. And Oracle Forms and Oracle Apex actually share the same DNA. So in many ways, you use what you already have, you use the skills that you have. It's very motivational to developers to use and extend the skills they have, which are Forms, into Apex, and learn other new skills, and learn the new interface, and that veneer to data, which is Oracle Application Express. Okay, so moving away from Forms, there is no silver bullet. There is no tool that can migrate Oracle Forms to anything else without any manual change. There are a number of tools which can help and assist, whether it's through inventory, looking at impact analysis, but there's nothing out there that will take an Oracle form, take an FMB, push it through a process, and provide you with an Apex form that is easy to maintain or natively work straight out of the box. There is manual intervention. A common mistake is trying to replicate in Oracle what you did in Oracle Forms in Apex. I'm going to give you an example. Oracle Forms, you are very much, it started off as a character-based deliverable, then a client-server deliverable, and then a Ren browser. But the point was, at best, it's only ever really been a client-server deployment in terms of how it looks and how it interacts. You would never build an online, a web-based application the way you would Forms. So therefore, when it comes to Forms, it is redevelopment because it would never work the same. And a system that is 100 Oracle Forms would never be 100 Oracle Apex pages. Other things to think about, it is possible in some circumstances of wrapping the Oracle Forms application to third-party solutions. And I'll be honest, from what I've seen so far and from the feedback I've had so far from this, is that this is basically all it's doing is masking or delaying the actual problem. And it's costs. And you've got to question where the value is in that. But also, have you retained your asset? And you must retain ownership. Don't rely on any small companies or products or associated license costs that hold you to ransom. You must stay in control of your Oracle Forms future. Okay, so there's a website out there called oracletoolwatch.com, and I think it's worth just reviewing that at some point because they actually sort of look and monitor the trends of Oracle technology. And the obvious technology trend at the moment, and it is obviously Apex with the arrow pointing straight up, and you see the decline of Oracle Forms. Other technologies in red are obviously things that are certainly, best way to probably say, deprecated in terms of Oracle Designer, which is a product I very much enjoyed using for many years. But in terms of trends, Oracle is very, very popular, and you will see that throughout events like Tech 16 and Kscope. By far the most popular stream and with the most active speakers involved and the most enthusiastic community. So, Apex. Customers, how they use it, and really it covers a broad spectrum of use cases. And I don't really think there's a development tool out there that actually can cater at one end for your access type Excel, let's call them citizen developer type applications, right through to reporting, forms replacement, to the far end, which is enterprise development. Apex does cover all those bases. And really what we are seeing is people replacing forms, utilizing the skills, remotivating the staff because they've got the core skills, which makes a great Apex developer, utilizing Apex's capability to do business intelligence and others analysis and reporting rather than having to purchase significant BI tools. Apex is exceptionally good for that, but it's also very, very good at large-scale development. It is good for teams of size. You can version control, and I think if you do go to Tech 16 and look out for some of the blogs, like on our website, for example, you will find that collaborative working, teams working in unison, and version control are all very much achieved in Apex. But it is a very different way of working than it would be in Forms, which is very much an executable deliverable and version control deliverable, whereas at Apex everything you do is metadata, and that metadata resides inside the database. Okay, 7 things about Apex the boss really needs to know. And firstly, cost effective. Well, if you own Oracle, you own the right to use it. Secondly, speed of development. Myself and many people in my team are Apex developers with a long history of using Apex throughout the versions. We are twice as productive in Apex as what we are in Oracle Forms. It's very, very, very easy to build things very quickly, and we've had some fantastic results on projects in times that many people have questioned how quickly we're able to achieve things. But Apex is fantastic. It's very rad. So, thirdly, responsive. It's a HTML output, so therefore natively out of the box it will work on a smartphone, a tablet, or a desktop, and you can build very nice user interfaces that will render on devices very easily. Whereas on a Oracle Forms environment, you work very much on a canvas to a particular resolution. Moving on to the second row, it has a reporting capability, it has a BI capability. It actually satisfies, the majority of BI solutions we see. It's not a full-blown, OBIE type, way that you want to do some significant statistical reporting, but for every day-to-day reporting, to be able to share, create, very much like you used to do in Oracle Discover for many years, it is a very cost-effective and useful solution. And it's great for doing things like dashboards, and with Apex 5.1 on the way and Jet charts, it looks absolutely fantastic. Number 5, really, it is incredibly easy to learn. If you want to be an Apex developer, your prerequisite skills are PLSQL and understanding of the database. Without those skills, you can learn the interface very quickly. You can be an end-user stroke citizen developer very quickly, but a forms developer makes a great Apex developer in a very short period of time. And number 6, it will run on any Android, Apple, or Microsoft-based device, and all the latest browsers are supported. And also, whether it's on cloud or on-premise, or on your laptop as a standalone version, it is just the same. There is no difference in terms of how you export, import, deploy, or run. It is exactly the same.
I just want to pick up that last point from Simon about cloud and just demonstrate how Apex might be used in a cloud environment. It's one of the fastest growing adoption areas that we're finding, not only from Oracle Forms users, but actually deploying in the cloud. Because one of the key benefits of the Oracle Cloud is developer agility. And I'm sure you all experience this within your businesses when tasked with new developments, that from idea to purchasing the kit that needed to get started on this project can take weeks or even go into months in some circumstances. And then to prepare, build, configure, optimize that environment, it can take the same again. How are you meant to be agile enough to deliver for the business? And that's often the problem with on-premise. And cloud offers an answer and a solution to that problem. And what is it? Well, we're looking at Oracle Cloud services that are already there and already ready and available for you to start to consume. Therefore, we reduce the time to delivery significantly. Days, hours even, to provision these environments and configure and optimize and ready to start development. You could start within 2-3 days. More and more organizations are moving to a DevOps strategy, and the Oracle Cloud and using tools like Apex, aligns itself perfectly with that strategy. Just a quick mention on the Oracle Cloud and what is actually available. And traditionally, the infrastructure as a service, from the likes of Amazon, that is available the same from Oracle with their own spin on it and their own benefits, and to make that an even better and more secure, more highly available infrastructure for you to start to use. And obviously there is the software as a service, SaaS platforms where Oracle's applications are ready and available for you to start to use on subscription-based services. But in the middle, we've got this thing called platform as a service, which is unique, and this is where the real value of Oracle technology comes with the Oracle Cloud, where Oracle, with all of their intellectual property and all of their technology within that stack that I referenced earlier, have started to provision these services that you could start to subscribe to individually and then combine and integrate to create a very powerful Oracle technology solution portfolio. And the Apex deployment is in this bottom left-hand corner in data management, where you've got the database cloud segment. Because, as Simon's mentioned, Apex is a component of the Oracle database. It isn't a licensable product. It's a no-cost option of the database. It's already there. Therefore, it runs within that database cloud service, and it also runs within the database on-premise, no matter what version and no matter what edition, from SE1, SE, SE2 now, Enterprise Edition, even the free version, Express Edition. It's there, ready and available for you to start using. So I'd encourage you to all look at the Oracle Cloud as a quick and low-cost way of starting these cloud services and start to test them. They're all available for 30-day free trials, so take a look or contact us for a bit more information, and we can help you on that journey. Now, I touched earlier on that Oracle are really good at giving customers choice, and Forms customers still have that choice. Whether you're wanting to stay with Forms, what do you do? Are you on 10G? Are you on 11G? Are you wanting to upgrade to 12C? Well, you've got a choice. You could stay on premise and upgrade to 12C. It's still supported, and like I said earlier, it will be supported for a long, long time to come. You could, in the future, we hear, start to use some Oracle Cloud Services to move some component of the Oracle database, Oracle Forms infrastructure to the cloud. You could start to look at third-party, Oracle technology like Java to redevelop the application. You could then move that to the cloud as well and using the Java Cloud Service. And you could look at third-party applications as well and stay on-premise and wrap the application as we've mentioned earlier. Or you could then combine that with the Java Cloud Services as well. Most often these third-party alternatives rely on Java, so you are throwing the baby out with the bathwater and having to start from scratch, rather than using a tool like Apex, where you can reuse much of that business logic which is already there. You can protect that investment that you've amassed over the years of using Forms, and you could redevelop with Apex on-premise, as well as choose to move to the cloud with the database cloud service, and then integrate with other cloud services as you see fit. So there is a roadmap available to you. There are options, and you do have choice, whether you want to stay on-prem or whether you want to move to the Oracle Cloud. I just want to touch on a quick example, the case study, if you will, visually. Just wanted to demonstrate the differences between Forms and Apex, and also the ability to integrate with open frameworks and APIs to be able to enhance Apex applications further. We were challenged when we were struggling with the NP API issue, de-supported within our Chrome browsers, that our Forms expenses application that we used internally for many, many years, so even ourselves as an Oracle Apex development house, we still had Forms applications because it works. And you'll have many examples of this within your departments at the moment. Leave it alone, it just works. Well, that's not going to be always the case, as we found out. So we redeveloped our expenses application into a Apex application. And as you can see here, we've got the traditional pop-up form, very traditional Forms look and feel, and this is the redeveloped login screen with single sign-on, connecting to our Active Directory and allowing us to log in to our expenses system. This was the launchpad into our expenses app, and years gone by, there were multiple different icons to access multiple different applications, but as time went on, we've obviously moved more and more applications into Apex, and the expenses one was the last one left. This is the equivalent, where we've got a Apex 5 view of this application with the column bar down the left-hand side being able to access the different applications that might be available, as well as the on the main screen. I'm sure you know by now that Apex is completely customizable when it comes to branding and look and feel with CSS, so you can make it look and feel however you want. Corporate branding, out of the box styling as well. So very flexible, very customizable, and dynamic when it comes to different deployment methods, whether that be a laptop, whether it be a tablet, or whether it be a phone. The traditional tabular form there, being able to input and tab across different rows and columns to be able to enter data for our own expenses. Very clunky to use, and having to use the icons across the top menu there to be able to drive additional functionality, save rows, exit, go back in, request approval. It was very clunky. It wasn't very user-friendly over time. And this was the comparison. We still have that form-based input, but it's in a much more modern and easier to use workflow. And then we've got an example here where we actually integrated Google Maps with our expenses application. So we're wanting to calculate the distance from Leeds to Reading, we can easily do that using Google Maps. So visually we can represent a journey. Multiple different use cases of integrating third-party APIs and processes. And then here we have an output from Apex, very simple output where we've created a PDF. We could do the same using a Word document, a spreadsheet, any other document type that you can think of. Let's move on to some use cases as well. Here's an example where Microlease, a company that wanted to redevelop forms into Apex, and what was driving them towards to do it. And what they actually achieved was being able to enhance the look and feel of the application, simplify the architecture, lower that total cost of ownership, and use REST to be able to open that application up to third-party services as well. And you can see in bold there that the key message that they benefited. Apex, it's free at the end of the day because you've already got the database, you already own it. So it made complete sense, commercial sense when comparing to forms and moving forward with forms. I can't tell you who this one is, but a large high street bank. Many of you will bank with them in the UK, but we've gone through this process where we've, their key drivers was risk. They were on a legacy version of forms, and they were considering upgrading to 12C, but they discounted it because of the cost of that upgrade, both from a development point of view and from a licensing point of view, given their particular circumstances. Java was their preference as well because Java had been their strategic development tool internally for many, many years, so it was the natural choice. But when they did their due diligence and compared to Apex, it was clearly, the easier choice. For them, it was a step forward on the same path that they were already on, compared to a 180 turn in a completely different direction on a completely different technology set. It just makes sense commercially and from a development point of view. Finally, our customer here, another use case where they are looking, they've been using Oracle Forms for many, many years, 12-year period, and they built up an enviable reputation and recognized within their own industry for the capabilities of what the application did. But it became clear that they weren't winning new contracts. Why? Because the look and feel of the Forms application was antiquated. It's a legacy and ugly system. They needed to redevelop that front end to enable future sales and keep that line of business going. And they looked at Apex. Combine that with cloud, their preference to deploy in the cloud, other capabilities like looking at mobile and mobile cloud service, several other products that they're wanting to launch. It was a natural choice. Relatively easy for them to use. We worked with them to develop this application, and they've taken on some training as well to be able to do future enhancements and develop them themselves. And they loved how they could just be able to develop on-premise with the infrastructure they've got at the moment, and then deploy this production environment into the cloud with minimal fuss. So now what? You're all sat there half an hour into this webinar, and there's been a lot of information to digest. Where do we go from here? So there are a number of different services that we provide that might be able to help you along this journey. We provide a contractor service, whether you're wanting to use us short-term or long-term. We provide training if you are looking at taking on much of this development yourselves, and we can work with you in a consultative way to coach you along that redevelopment into Forms, or we can do the complete project lifecycle for you, and we commit to fixed cost and fixed timescales projects on that basis as well. So that's just a quick flavour of what we could do to help you if you were interested in looking at Apex further. Right, poll time again. I asked you this question half an hour ago. What I'm keen to do, you should also have that poll open now, is answer the same question again, and I'd like to see whether the answers have changed at all, given what you know now about Oracle Forms and Apex, whether you're considering moving away from Forms, or whether more people are going to stay with Oracle Forms even. So if you've got time just to answer that, keep it open for a few more seconds, and then we'll close that down. Okay, a few more people. I think only about half of you have answered, so if you can just take the time to choose an answer. Okay, a few more seconds. Okay, thanks very much. So if we can start to look at those polls.
The first ones.
So at the start of the webinar, I asked whether you were actively assessing forms, and wow, it's interesting. So 50% of you said yes, and 50% of you said no. So it's going to be interesting to see what the results were at the end of the webinar. So we'll just bring that up. Wow, that's a stark contrast. So at the start, 50% of you said that you were considering reviewing Apex, and 50% of you said no. And now 78% of you have said that you would be considering the continued lifespan of Oracle Forms within your business, compared to 22% no. No one saying within 12 months, and no one saying that they'll never stop using Oracle Forms. So that is interesting. So I hope that you've found this webinar interesting and got your answers. I'm going to move over to some questions now. If anyone has got some questions that have been submitted throughout the webinar. If not, take the time to write your questions in now. Okay, so we've got one here. So from Ian, how much does Apex redevelopment cost? Good question, $1 million question there. Simon, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, I'll try and take this one. So an exact cost I couldn't tell you, but what I would say is this, and I sort of touched on this a little bit earlier. I think I made reference to saying, like, I think I said it was 100 Oracle Forms applications, not 100 Apex Forms. Productivity-wise, it makes no sense to actually try and re-replicate the exact system that you had. And for one simple reason, an Oracle Forms application will be legacy. If you had the opportunity to do it differently, you would, in most cases, because it's got so much historical information and things change. So, if anybody ever turns around to now, has this on demos before now, people turn and say, oh, it's costly to redevelop applications. Yes, you may have had your Oracle Forms for 10 years, but what I would say is that before you do ever look at any redevelopment, look at your Forms application and see what is still valid. Because what is valid is what gets redeveloped. So therefore, that 100 forms, there may be a number of those redundant. I could quote probably one example. I worked on an application last year where actually it was over a 300 plus Oracle form system. And initially when you start to think about that, that is a serious amount of development cost. However, once you actually started to analyze the forms and the way the forms worked and the simplicity of the forms, building a few dynamic forms in Apex, especially for querying data, reduced the application down by 80 screens or 80 forms by just using Apex and actually redeveloping it. So it's not a bigger cost as you may think it is. It is very much on a case-by-case basis, but the skills you will learn, the actual productivity you will gain, and the fact that you will be able to economically look at what you've got in terms of what's still relevant, certainly won't be as big a cost as it would be as comparing what you have on an inventory basis from a like-for-like basis.
Thanks, Simon. Another question from Shanti here. How long will forms be supported for? Okay.
Okay, I'm guessing
for me.
Okay then. So let's have a think about this. Apologies if I get an odd version number wrong, but I'll try my best. So Oracle Forms 10G release 1 or earlier, you're not supported. I think 10G release 2, at best you will have what they call sustaining support. 11G I think if you've signed up to something like an extended support agreement, you could probably run in 11G release 1 till mid-2017, and 11G release 2 probably the end of this year. But then you could buy extending support, which would probably give you, another 12 to 18 months longer. And as for 12C, I think that's going to be supported on the initial version up to 2023. So there's quite a bit of extension and support with it. But yeah, it's basically 11G extended. Anything 10 and below, you're really not supported.
Okay. Final question: can Apex coexist with forms? So a middle ground.
Yes and no. So bearing in mind a traditional Oracle form, and we're talking web-enabled forms at 6i upwards, you are running as an applet in a browser, and therefore you can call URLs, and therefore you can launch web pages. And as Apex runs from a URL in a browser, you could run that. I don't see many people try. You can try and make them coexist under a single login. I don't think it's worth the effort to do, but what we do find with people who move are looking to have the strategy to replace. You certainly don't throw everything out and start again from scratch. You modernize what you can, you refine what you can in Oracle Forms, and therefore you do your new development to coexist probably with your Oracle Forms.
Okay, great. Another question here. How do Apex and Forms compare in the Oracle Cloud right now? Okay. Right now, so they don't compare because there is no Oracle Forms service as a service right now. Oracle Cloud is extremely important strategically to Oracle. They are a cloud-first organization now, the biggest shift in Oracle's behavior in a very, very, very long time. Anyone using Oracle technology on-premise, don't be surprised to be approached by your appropriate Oracle sales representative to encourage you to look at the Oracle Cloud. And in most cases, I would encourage you to do so. It's great. However, the fact that Oracle Forms has not been released as a service speaks volumes. Now, I did mention earlier that Forms might be available in some form. Pardon the pun. That's all we've heard at the moment. We've not got a release date. We believe it involves the running as on a bare metal or a VM deployment where you've got to do much of the integration and configuring yourself. So it's not actually available as a service, and therefore the value is questionable. So by contrast, Apex is available as a service. It's available in various cloud services. It's available as a free service to run, a very small test dev kind of playground environment, through to enterprise grade deployment as part of the database as a cloud service. Database as a cloud service, DBAS, is available for you to trial. If you are interested in doing a trial or even a proof of concept, we have our own, Explorer has our own database cloud service available for proof of concepts and demos. If any of you want to have a look at that and how Apex would run in the cloud, feel free to contact us after this webinar.
Okay, John, I've got another question here. It's probably one for me. So it's from Vaclav. He says, hello. When you input data into the system, it could be accepted that Oracle Forms has various controls about data consistency, accuracy, logic, etc. How do you expect to input and key data into systems in Apex, and how would these controls be included? So, okay, just bearing in mind, Apex, the underlying language in Apex is PL SQL, as is in Oracle Forms. So therefore, you have very similar things. Now, in Forms, you have the concept of triggers. You don't have that concept in Apex, but you do have something very similar called dynamic actions. And based on actions in your form, whether it's at field or record or form level, very similar, you can pick up all the similar sort of controls that you would do and activate validations and so on very easily. And whether that's calling functions, procedures, package procedures, or JavaScript to give you more of a client-server type feel. As a Forms person, it does work differently, but I haven't come across any situation that can't be achieved in terms of validation and input controls. But I actually think you have more control because you've got more options, and there's some really great features around, using session and collections and so on. So, it is different. It's different terminology, but they do. I don't see any reason why you can't replicate what you need to do, but I wouldn't replicate things exactly, because one was designed for client server at best, and the other one is a pure browser-based development.
Thanks, Simon. If there's any other questions, use the question box in the GoToWebinar application on your right-hand side. We'll give it a few more seconds, see if any other questions come in, and after that we'll start to wrap up the webinar. So it doesn't look like anyone else is typing any more any questions, so we'll call it quits from there. Now, last slide. Just to remind you, we have a dedicated Apex and development website, which is explorer-development.uk.com. This is where you'll find our blog, extremely popular, worldwide readership. So if you've not come across that yourself, then I'd encourage you to take a look. You can find us on Twitter. Twitter handle is @ExplorerUK Limited. And then if you do want to contact us to discuss further, then a recording of this webinar will be sent out to you later on this afternoon, and you'll find my details if you want to have any commercial or pre-sales conversations, or Simon's email address if you want to ask any specific and technical questions. So once again, I'd like to thank you all for participating today. I hope you found it useful. According to the polls, I think most of you did. Most of you have come away learning more about what Apex is and how it's positioned as an appropriate replacement for Oracle Forms as and when you deem that necessary. On behalf of Simon and I, thank you, and hope to see you on future webinars to come. All the best.